welcome to another episode of Women Locked Up Before and After. I have something kind of interesting for y'all today, um, and it's actually going to have the facts on prisoners and jobs before and after incarceration. So I'm going to do a little reading, yes, but please listen to this because it's very, very interesting. I I found it very interesting when I was reading it, so bear with me just for 1 second. Okay. A-year-old men who aren't working are either in prison, in jail, or are unemployed ex-prisoners. Almost half of ex-prisoners have no reported job earnings in the first several years after leaving prison. Among those who do find work, half earn less than $10,090 a year, or less than a full-time job at minimum wage. These are just a few of the sobering findings from a new study of ex-prisoners in the U.S. Using unique administrative data, we find that the labor market struggles of ex-prisoners start well before their incarceration. Most grew up in deep poverty, and many weren't working or were earning very little before incarceration. A disproportionate share grew up in racially segregated neighborhoods where child poverty rates were high. Most parents were unmarried and few were employed. That such a large of working age men without jobs are also prisoners, or for former prisoners from deeply disadvantaged backgrounds has implications for the design of prisoner focused subsidies. For instance, relaxing the burdensome requirements on subsidies targeted to ex-prisoners, or replacing focused subsidies like the Work Opportunity Tax Credit (WOTC) with broad-based subsidies for low-skilled, marginally employed individuals, like an expanded Earned Income Tax Credit (EITC) for childless workers, would expand eligibility for work-related subsidies and reach more of the intended recipients. Our findings reinforce what other research has illustrated, that poverty, race, and incarceration are interconnected. By addressing the challenges facing children born into poverty, we could reduce incarceration rates and improve labor market outcomes. Given the strong relationship between childhood conditions and later incarceration, the best way to help prisoners find good paying jobs may be to turn our attention to the problems that start long before imprisonment. This could include focused policies that invest in children, fight racial discrimination and geographically concentrated poverty, and reform the criminal justice system. Here are 5 findings from the new research. This is very interesting. The stupid mouse, I'm sorry. Okay, this is not going to work with me. Ex-prisoners fare poorly in the labor market. In the first full calendar year after their release, only 55% reported any earnings, with the median earnings being $10,090. Of those with earnings, 4% earned less than $500. 32% earned between $500 and $15,000, and only 20% earned more than $15,000. But prisoners fared poorly in the labor market before they were incarcerated. Of the prisoners we studied, only 49% of prime age men were employed to 2 full calendar years prior to incarceration. Of those who were employed, their median earnings were only $6,250. Only 13% earned more than $15,000. Indeed, in any given year in the decade prior to their incarceration, only about half of prisoners had any reported earnings. Number, let's see, what number are we on? Number 3, growing up in poverty dramatically increases the likelihood of incarceration. Boys who grew up in families in the bottom of 10% of the income distribution were 20 times more likely to be in prison on a given day in their early 30s than children born in top 10% of families. Almost 1 in 10 children born to families in the bottom 10% were therefore incarcerated at 30. At the extremes of family income distribution, the differences are larger. Boys from the poorest families were 40 times more likely to end up in prison compared to boys from the richest families. It's very interesting. Number 4, a third of men aged 30 without any annual earnings are either incarcerated or unemployed former prisoners. Of the 17% of men at age 30 that have no earnings, in 2012 about 3.5% were in prison or in jail, and another 3% are former prisoners without work. Combined, they make up more than a third of non-working men at age 30. Among men born to parents in the bottom half of the income distribution, the share of non-working men is closer to 50%, and these figures exclude any impairment to employment associated with having served time in jail rather than prison, or from the 30% of felony convictions that do not result in incarceration. In short, the difficulties that many men face in the labor market, particularly low-income men seeking to move up the economic ladder, are closely related to their involvement in the criminal justice system. And here is number 5. The neighborhood you grow up in matters. Differences in incarceration rates can vary within cities by a factor of 30 between. Okay, let me say that again, I'm sorry. Differences in incarceration rates can vary within cities by a factor of 30 between zip codes that are a walking distance apart. Prisoners were disproportionately likely to have grown up in socially isolated and segregated neighborhoods with high rates of child poverty in predominantly black or American Indian neighborhoods. In Los Angeles, for instance, the incarceration rate at age 30 of children growing up in neighborhoods in Westwood, Santa Monica, or Sierra Madre was essentially zero, where areas and neighborhoods in South LA or Compton, the rate of men and women combined was close to 7%. In more rural states, like the Dakotas, Nebraska, Wyoming, or Idaho, while the overhaul I'm sorry um, overall incarceration rate is low. Certain areas had high rates of incarceration. For instance, roughly 10% of all 30-year-old prisoners in Nebraska came from a single neighborhood in Omaha. Here are the top 10 neighborhoods with the highest incarceration rates for the men and women at 30 years old. You know what? When they talk about this 30-year-old thing, it's weird they say this because a lot of people, men and women, especially women, when I was in prison, a lot of those were in the ages of between 25 and 35 or something like that. It was always in that age frame, except for the young ones and all that stuff, or the elderly. But most of them were in that age range. It's kind of neat or whatever to see this. But it says on here the cities: Nashville, Tennessee, 14% incarceration rate, 42% child poverty rate, 93% black, college attendance 30%, Portsmouth, Virginia 11%, child poverty rate, oh that's incarceration rates 11% in Portsmouth, Virginia. Child poverty rate 37%, black 77%, college attendance 32%. Waco, or if I'm not saying this right, please tell me. Waco, Texas. I think it's Waco though. Incarceration rate 11%, child poverty rate 35%, black 34%, college attendance 24%. Cincinnati, Ohio, 11% incarceration rate, 46% child poverty rate, 65% black, 22% college attendance. Fort Myers, Florida, 11% incarceration rate, 37% child poverty rate, 82% black, 24% college attendance. Jacksonville, Florida, 11% incarceration rate, 46% child poverty rate, 79% black, college attendance 20%. Orlando, Florida, 10% incarceration rate, 42% child poverty rate, 93% black, 24% college attendance. Norfolk, we got three more. Norfolk, Virginia, 10% incarceration rate. It's getting lower and lower, which is kind of strange because I just watched a video on the Virginia one. But anyway, 10% incarceration rate, 52% child poverty, 90% black, 26%. I don't know what this deal is with the black thing, but I guess it'll get there in just a second because this is almost done. 29%. Oh, 26% college attendance there. Richmond, Virginia, 10% incarceration rate, 27% child poverty, 80% black, 29% college educated. I won't say college educated. That one. Okay. Tulsa, Oklahoma, 10% incarceration rate, 1% child poverty, 62% black, 29% college educated. In our analysis, we used data on 2.9 million prisoners maintained by the Internal Revenue Service (IRS) and submitted by the Federal Bureau of Prisons and the heads of state prison agencies to facilitate tax audits, and reduced refund fraud. Well, that is actually it. That's it on the 5 facts about prisoners and work before and after incarceration. And with that story, it's mainly about men, but I'm gonna tell you something. That goes with women too, and you see that that question actually has been on my mind for a long time on how incarceration, how work was even before incarceration, not just after. Like when you're spiraling down or whatever before you ever go. And that's proof right there. Like, literally proof. If anybody wants to know more about this, this link is the webpage is actually www.brookings.edu blog slash blog slash up dash front slash 2018 slash 14 slash 5 facts about prisoners and work before and after incarceration. But mainly, just go to www.brookings.edu brookings.edu, and I'm sure you can find it from there. But there's a lot more stuff on there, but that right there really drew my attention because there's so many problems with jobs right now and the economy, how the economy is and everything. And I thought that pretty much covered a lot of the thing that's going on right now. So that's the reason why I wanted to make this video, because when I came across this, I was like, oh my gosh, I have to make a video about this. So I hope everybody enjoyed this video, and again, I'm still open to new new ideas and everything. If you have anything you want me to talk about, feel free to let me know, comment below, and keep watching and stay tuned for more videos. I will be live next, and then again after that I will have a regular video. I have a very good video coming for y'all. Very good. It's actually, matter of fact, let me take that off right now since I'm done with that. The next video is going to be on I can either, now if you want to, y'all can make a vote. I can do the one on visiting the largest women's high mat. Well, I think I already done that one, but I was gonna do the one that's drugs and high max prisons. That's actually what I'm gonna do. That's what I'm gonna do. But also, by the way, a quick update on changing my name. I cannot change my name for about 1.5 more months because I took the name Low Battery that I used to use off of my name on there on the Women Locked Up Before and After, and now I can't change it just because I took that off. I figured changing my name, period, it would matter, but it matters if you literally take something off of your name. That's the same difference, I guess, but I didn't think that. But it will be, I already got my icon ready, my background picture and everything. It's going to be Prison Diaries, of course, semicolon or whatever, Women Behind Bars. Yes, it still has a link to the title, but it's going to be PD, Prison Diaries. That's going to have got a nice, hot, neat looking freaking icon. It's going to be at the bottom of my screen. It's going to be my watermark too. It's got a PD in the middle, and it looks like a burning hole with the PD in the middle. It's neat looking. But I can't wait to come up with that or have that on there. But anyway, thank y'all so much for watching. And again, please Please like, share, and subscribe. You know what? I want to stop saying share because some people don't share. I don't think anybody shares anybody's videos that I know of. So please like and how do I say? Like, comment, and subscribe. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and peace and love, y'all. Bye.